Turning now to politics, and a big week for President Biden's agenda, including a surprise $369 billion deal that would help fight climate change and lower prescription drug costs. It had been negotiated in secret by the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and moderate Democratic Senator Joe Manchin. Republicans were led to believe Manchin would not go along with it, and now there are questions about whether Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell essentially got played. Joining me now is legendary Democratic strategist James Carville. James, good to have you back. Thanks so much. McConnell, we always think of him as sort of the Svengali behind the scenes there in the U.S. Senate. He didn't think this deal was going to happen. So he gave Senate Republicans the okay to vote for another bill, the CHIPS bill, which helps the U.S. stay competitive with China. And then suddenly President Biden gets another win on his agenda. You know, James, I did not have Joe Manchin salvaging the Biden agenda on my bingo card this year, but there it is.
Well, I guess you could say Senator Manchin has the capacity to surprise. What I'm most surprised about is he and Senator Schumer were obviously talking about this for a long time, and it never leaked out, which is pretty amazing if you stop and you think about it, because there had to be any number of other people involved in drafting and fiscal things and things like that. And, Mitch McConnell is a man that on his own changed the composition of the Supreme Court from 9 members to 8 members. So it's kind of hard to feel sorry for him. It really is. It was kind of delicious to see him take a sharp headshot. It was fun.
And what do you think is going on here with Senator Joe Manchin? I used to have an informal rule with my team. We can't mention Joe Manchin's name at least 20 times in the show, but he makes himself part of the coverage so much with, his maneuvering on the Hill. But and I'm joking when I say that. We don't have that.
Sure.
But this is kind of remarkable to see this, I guess, turn of events.
Well, Senator Manchin, who by the way I know and am quite fond of, has positioned himself to maybe be the most consequential senator of the 21st century. He's been in and out of the news, but he has a kind of capacity to surprise, and he surprised again. And I think Senator Schumer deserves a lot of credit for this. I'm sure President Biden does also, but people saw that there was some things coming on prescription drugs, a few other things. But to my knowledge, I don't think anybody saw a deal of this magnitude and this serious in the makings. But it was a quite pleasant late July surprise.
And do you think this has, what does this have to do with the current state of affairs for President Biden, his standing with the public? A new CNN poll showed only 25% of Democratic-leaning voters want Biden to be the nominee in 2024. 75% want a different candidate. I want to get your take on this as well, James. We've already seen a group of former Democratic and Republican officials led by Andrew Yang, former Congressman David Jolly, former Governor of New Jersey Christine Todd Whitman, form a new political party called the Forward Party. They're trying to, appeal to moderate voters in the middle. How much of this has to do with how Joe Biden is doing these days? And I guess I'm also curious, James, what you think. You helped Bill Clinton beat a guy named Ross Perot back, I guess it was 30 years ago. Could this Forward Party have the same kind of impact this time around?
I think in a nation awash in really stupid ideas, this stands out as a really stupid idea. Ralph Nader basically elected George W. Bush in 2000. Jill Stein basically elected Donald Trump in 2016. And the only possible thing this could do is bleed some moderate Republicans off of voting for whoever the Democratic nominee is. This thing is going nowhere. It's vanity. It's look at me. It's performance art. And I'm, to say the least, I'm not a fan of this effort. It's something editorial writers and pontificators like, but that's about it.
And I have to ask you about this, James, because this has been something that's been talked about quite a bit in Democratic circles as to whether or not this is a good idea. We've seen efforts by Democratic campaigns and outside groups to tilt the playing field in their favor by propping up extremist Republican candidates in some of these races, some of these very critical races around the country. The idea that it would make it easier for Democrats to win. But on the flip side, if the vote doesn't go their way, you could end up with conspiracy theorists, election deniers, and so on, in some pretty important places. Let's listen to what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had to say about it.
I said that we need a strong Republican Party, not a cult of personality. That didn't mean we shouldn't have a strong Democratic Party as well. And the political decisions that are made out there are made in furtherance of our winning the election, because we think the contrast between Democrats and Republicans as they are now is so drastic that we have to win.
What do you think, James? I mean, is your party playing with fire?
I love that woman. I just worship her. And the idea of a political campaign is to win the election. It acts in its own interest. And let's take Pennsylvania. It clearly was in Josh Shapiro's interest that the Republicans nominate Doug Mastriano. I've done the same thing. I would do the same thing. I don't see any ethical or moral problem with doing this. And again, I think most of the opposition to this is from the pontifical class, mostly located on the coast. I don't see anything wrong with this. And you try to do everything you can to help your candidate or your party win an election. And that's pretty simple. And that's what the DCCC is trying to do. Now, sometimes it backfires. Sometimes it doesn't work. Well, okay, people do stupid things from time to time. But I wholeheartedly endorse this idea of being involved in their primaries to help them nominate the stupidest, goofiest, extreme person they can. I can remember when Rush Limbaugh used to tell his listeners to go vote in Democratic primaries. That kind of stuff happens all the time.